and you will know yourselves as the God that you are.
Hi everyone, this is Daniel Scranton.
Hi, Daniel Scranton. My name is Suris. What are we talking about today?
And now I'm going to channel for you.
You're gonna what? I think he said he's going to become a YouTube channel. Somehow, I don't think he's talking about that kind of channel. Well, maybe he's talking about— Why the fuck are there more of you? Why do y'all keep doing this to me? How's it going, everybody? My name is Suris, and if you're unfamiliar with me and what I do, I try to cover politics and stuff like this in a fair and even-handed manner. I also try to make this muck a little less miserable to engage with, so if that's something that you find important, if that's something you value, maybe consider subscribing to my channel, maybe consider letting a few friends know what I'm doing over here. Hey, I've even got a Patreon. That all said, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about this guy right here, Daniel Scranton. And he is what's called a channeler. Now, what is a channeler? Well, a channeler is somebody who tries to reach out to a deity or an extraterrestrial, or basically anything you can think of that you cannot speak to anymore, and they try to channel that person's spirit so that they can speak to you. It's a bit like if a Ouija board were operated by one person and the Ouija board was a YouTube channel. Now, before we go much further, I want to give a quick thank you to the artists who have been throwing fan art at my channel for years. Y'all literally are the reason why I'm in this character model. Like, if you guys didn't know, Suzu Sawara, the person responsible for this character model, made this as fan art at one point, and that fan art is what created this model. And I want to maintain the habit of showing you guys fan art that has been done by the community, and this one was done by Deepak Chopra. They said, drew these a bit ago, thought I'd share them right now, and they are the cat versions with sunglasses of the alter egos y'all have made, Suris, Suzu, and Ruris. And, you know, Suzu's been doing an awesome job at getting the models for these actually complete. Suris and Ruris are at least done in their usable forms. You've seen them in this video and in others, and we're still trying to get to the point where we can get the other models made as well. I've been having fun using them, but I do want to say thank you, Deepak Chopra, for the fan art. I greatly appreciate it. And with that, let's get back to the topic at hand. Now, a lot of my problems that I have with stuff like this is that it's not like the basic atheist magical thinking problem. It's more that if you, say, are a Christian and somebody is telling you that they can channel Yahweh and they're speaking to you through Yahweh, can you not see why that could be a little predatory? And can you not see how that can end up causing a bit of a problem? Daniel also apparently sells classes on how to do this yourself, so you don't have to listen only to him, but if you pay him money, he'll teach you how to do it. And this all kind of feels like the speaking with tongue thing, where you end up faking it till you make it, and then some people convince themselves they can actually do it. I'm just gonna say right now, if you feel like you're hearing a voice in your head that's not really there and it's telling you things that you normally wouldn't tell yourself, that's not a sign you're speaking to a deity. That's usually a sign that you need therapy. And Daniel will try to sell you that he's talked to damn near every extraterrestrial thing out there, including the Arcturians. Now, if you're not familiar with the Arcturians, they're supposed to be an extraterrestrial civilization from the red star of Arcturus, and they're supposed to be really, really benevolent. They share special knowledge with you, and they're supposed to communicate with us because they are an advanced technology society that has a lot of spiritual awareness and thus can reach out through the cosmos and touch your booty hole. Now, where did these things come from? Well, they actually come from science fiction. Meet David Lindsay, an ex-military person turned novelist who wrote a novel called A Voyage to Arcturus in 1920. Now, this novel did not sell well at all, but apparently it had such deep religious and moral backing that J.R. Tolkien actually said that he really, really enjoyed the book and characterized it as a work of philosophy. But the ideas in that science fiction novel would actually be picked up by someone else, and that someone is this guy here, Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce was a psychic, or at least a guy who claimed he was a psychic in America, and his particular grift, his particular bit of charlatanaise was to try to diagnose diseases and recommend treatments for people's ailments while asleep. He would claim to have knowledge about the afterlife, Atlantis, future events, and he described himself as a devout Christian. In a bunch of his supposed psychic readings, he would mention the star Arcturus multiple times and described it as a gateway to higher realms of consciousness. If you want to get an idea of how wacky this guy was, I just need to tell you one thing. He made a prediction that in 1958, the United States would rediscover a death ray that had been used on Atlantis. And, you know, I think I speak for everybody when I say that never fucking happened. He predicted that in the 1930s, Los Angeles and San Francisco would be destroyed before New York City. He predicted the second coming of Christ would happen in 1998. I think you get the picture. The guy who used the Arcturians after the author who made them failed to sell them, used them as a backing for some of his more wackadoodle claims. That's basically what we're getting at here. And that leads us back to Daniel here, who claims that he can actually channel the Arcturians.
Hi everyone, Daniel Scranton here, wanting to talk to you about light languages and give you a brief demonstration. I've been speaking light languages for over 5.5 years. I've never really done much with them in terms of speaking them intentionally. It's more been something that's happened to me at various times, and when it happens, I always think it's cool and fun, but now I want to start using it as a way of teaching people how to channel.
I've never done it intentionally. It just happens to me, but now I want to teach you how to do it intentionally.
And also as a way for me to connect more deeply with the beings that I channel, because I feel like light languages bypass the mind, and they're a very pure way of expressing the energy that we're connected to when we channel different beings.
You feel like it. You don't have like evidence of that. You don't have any proof that that's the case. You just kind of feel that way. That's usually not a good way to engage with like truth, my guy.
Okay, here we go.
You know, I think I know exactly what I'm listening to. Give me a second.
E no, tile baraki lo ho, for te bashela ha, Ijula dikidi moza te borove abaste.
Yeah, this is just speaking with tongues. Like, again, you know, speaking with tongues, that thing Pentecostals pretend they do when they pretend they're channeling the Holy Spirit and everybody with them has to pretend that they're so awe-inspired by an adult pretending that they're making up fucking words on a stage. Yeah, that's literally all this is. Now, I've been to a lot of religious things. I've been to Christian gatherings, I've been to pagan gatherings, but here's the thing. There is never a time where any of my friends who are pagan have claimed to channel the words of deity through their fucking mouth. And most of the Christians that I talk to who are friends of mine who are at least mildly sane also don't do this shit. This is the kind of stuff you do when you're in a cult. And I'm not saying that as a, like, base observation. I'm saying that because the idea of trying to, like, ascertain special knowledge, gain these special skills that literally only have the use case of showing other cult members that you are part of the cult, this is cult behavior. So now we have to ask the question, how the heck did he get here? He has a video on his channel called How I Woke Up and Started Channeling, where he talks about how he grew up in a very Christian household and then slowly started to step away from that. He went to college, started learning about Greek and Roman deities, started figuring out that the world had other religions beside his own, stepped away from that and became an atheist. And apparently, as an atheist, he was incredibly miserable. Now, trust me, I get it. Being in the world as an atheist is miserable, miserable, but maybe not for the reasons you were feeling it. For me, I think it's kind of miserable because I'm watching teachers get fired because they gave a student a bad grade when they cited the Bible and didn't actually cite the Bible when they were supposed to be citing the goddamn book. Like, I get depressed feeling like I'm in that weird bizarro world where facts don't actually matter to anybody, and everybody just operates off of their feelings and pretending that they've all read the same book. But he goes on to mention that after his atheist phase, he discovered Deepak Chopra and started learning about the flaws in the current medical models of the world and Western science, and oh my. So, okay, who is Deepak Chopra and why is this guy a problem? He's a spiritualist who writes such fascinating articles like The New Atheism and the Delusions of Science.
Because your science is really frozen in the dungeons of conservatism and in the dungeons of orthodoxy. Today, science tells us that the essential nature of reality is non-local correlation. Everything is connected to everything else. That there's hidden creativity. There are quantum leaps of creativity. That there's something called the observer effect, where intention orchestrates space-time events, which we then measure as movement and motion and energy.
Now, I could obviously spend some time covering why saying that science is rooted in conservatism and orthodoxy doesn't make a whole lot of sense when science is literally a peer review process. It has self-correcting mechanisms. It's not a perfect system, but it's the system that we've best found to ascertain a lot of knowledge. And what Chopra does is he goes and uses the idea of science to talk about quantum physics and then speaks with authority on what quantum physics demonstrates about reality. And I think I can't articulate a response better than what Sam Harris articulated in the debate I was just showing you.
But the fact, what you do and what many people who try to invoke spooky physics do in the service of propping up their religious and New Age intuitions is that they think that because what you're saying, because quantum mechanics is spooky and difficult to understand, and because what you're saying is spooky and difficult to understand, they must somehow be related.
So there's a joke that I've heard from people who've taken courses on quantum physics, and I've never taken one, but the joke basically goes like this. If you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't understand quantum mechanics.
I've met great meditation masters who've spent 20 years in caves perfecting the kinds of techniques of meditation that you would adopt or recommend. They don't know a damn thing about physics. And they're not interested, for the most part, in physics. I mean, there's nothing about sitting in a cave and granted, having incredibly useful and even normative experiences and transforming your way of life and transforming your moment-to-moment perception of the world. There's nothing about that project that makes you a theoretical physicist. And so these are completely different language games. They're completely, and you have just merged them together in a very unprincipled way. And you're getting
No.
Now, I have lots of disagreements with Sam Harris, but I think he actually has this bit well nailed on the head. What people like Deepak Chopra try to do is they sell you the idea of quantum physics, and because you can't understand quantum physics, because you don't understand it, when they say random things about it, it sounds no different than them telling the truth. Because since it is something that is so famously hard to understand and so misunderstood by the general populace in general, you can say damn near anything about it, and unless somebody who's an expert or a hobbyist in that particular field is listening, nobody's going to be able to call you on your bullshit. Nobody can tell you that you're wrong.
And as I listened to Deepak, it was clear that after being a medical doctor in Boston, where I went to school, he realized he didn't want to be a glorified drug pusher. He wanted to help people heal themselves, and he rediscovered the Ayurvedic principles and, his Indian roots.
So I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the Ayurvedic principles, the idea that all matter in the universe includes 5 basic elements. Those are, aether, air, fire, water, earth. I'm not going to claim to be an expert on those things, and I don't think that belief in that is necessarily harmful. But there is a bit in here that I want to focus on, and that is the idea of not wanting to take drugs, not wanting to be a glorified drug pusher, and instead focus on more spiritual methods of healing. Now, Deepak Chopra, when he did things like talk about COVID-19, he mentioned that the vaccine alone will not protect you. You also need to do things like get a good night's sleep, stop staring at screens right before you go to sleep, like all that fun stuff that is actually like guaranteed to make your life better. Now, he said it in a very tongue-in-cheek way, almost, where, like, it almost seemed like the vaccine was less important than the other things you could do, which, I mean, technically I agree with that, but I can definitely see there being some, like, soccer moms who are, like, hyper-naturalists who end up reading that going, oh, the most important thing I can do is take care of my body, not actually take this vaccine that makes me not carry my symptoms to other people. Like, there's some weirdness that goes on there. But a lot of this tends to look like a general disdain for what we currently understand to be science. At least science as, you and I understand it here in America, I guess. But it makes sense to have a disdain for classical Western, I guess you could say, science, because one of the core tenets of it is having to have claims be falsifiable, having to have things be verifiable. We need to be able to replicate things that you are doing in order to determine whether or not you are actually doing a thing, or if you're just bullshitting us and pretending you are. But why would Daniel be doing this? Well, let's go over to his website and see exactly why he's doing this. Well, if you'd like to book a private session where Daniel will say random nonsense into the void in order to, I don't know, speak to your dead ancestor or extraterrestrials or whatever god you happen to pray to, that's going to run you anywhere between $200 and $450. Apparently, 20 minutes of his time is worth $177.77 of your hard-earned money. Now, I'm not against a content creator asking for money. I, of course, have a Patreon, but I don't bullshit you about what I sell you on the Patreon. If you're a member of the Patreon, after a month or so, you get your name in the credits. If you are a member of my Patreon, you get access to the private videos on Patreon, where I talk about things that are going on in my life outside of just being on the channel. You see a very different version of me when you are subscribed to Patreon. I'm not bullshitting you on what I'm selling you. I'm not talking to a dead ancestor. You're just getting a different peek in on my life. Speaking of life, if you want to have a regression and healing session where he spends 60 minutes having a private session with you where he will regress you back to your past life, a thing that a lot of different spiritualities have a idea of, but we've literally never been able to verify that this is true or not. It's very likely untrue. It's just very likely untrue. I'm sorry for anybody that really wants to be immortal and wants to be reincarnated. Hell, my ideal is not going to a heaven. My ideal is being able to experience life like New Game Plus. That's my ideal, but I don't think that's happening. But apparently, for $333, you can have a 1-hour private session where he will regress you back to a past life and offer you a healing for your past life traumas. Now, if any of you are made of money, and I do not suggest giving money to this charlatan, but find somebody who is willing to do this kind of channeling, but make up different identities about yourself and have them basically put you in past lives that could not coexist together. Like, if you had 5 past lives, 2 of those lives could not have been alive at the exact same time. So an easy way to verify that one of these people is bullshitting you is to have the same person get sessions multiple times, and once you find an overlap, there is no way that you could have a past life of a, widowed handmaiden in 1822 and also a past life of a soldier in 1825. but you were the same person. All you need is for Daniel not to know that you're the same person, because he's going to be making the shit up no matter what. For $333, all the way up to $1,111, you can choose any of the beings or collectives that he channels, like the Archangel, Michael, Gabriel, the Founders, the Hother, Buddha, Yeshua, the Creators, and he will offer you a one-on-one private channeling session where you can choose from any of those beings, and he will happily teach you how to talk with them. Like, I'm just curious, what happens if you feel like you're actually encountering one of those beings and they've just been waiting on you to make contact with them, as if, like, the god of the cosmos doesn't have the kind of power to just talk with you whenever the fuck he pleases?
Well, took you long enough.
Beginning to think you'd never come.
I was always here, Obi-Wan. You just were not ready to see.
Like, I'm just imagining Daniel saw this scene and went, oh, that's me.
One who has returned from the netherworld of the Force. Your old master.
Qui-Gon.
How to commune with him, I will teach you.
But 5,000 Republic credits per hour you must pay. And I'm not pulling that last number from Master Yoda out of my ass. No. I've saved the best for last, because guess what Daniel will sell you as well? For $5,555, he will walk you through the process of becoming a channeler, also known as a charlatan just like him. He will teach you how to make money doing the thing you love that also happens to be of service to all humanity. This is a classic selling of classes scam, where you have a skill that has no actual value, but through clever marketing and manipulation, you convince people that what you're doing has value to the people around you. You then promise that the person that you are giving this lesson to will be able to convert the wealth they just handed over to you that they already fucking had. They can then use that lesson you gave them in order to create wealth of their own. There's generally no clear curriculum. There's no explanation of what that fee actually covers and why. Oh, trust me, he'll meet with you 3 times a month for 1-hour sessions. In those sessions, depending on where you are, you'll either have a channeling lesson or they'll teach you how to take your channeling to other people in order to make money from it. This means that he's making $154 per hour. For that, he'll review marketing materials that you've made, he'll review your website, he'll tell you whether you're being a good boy scamming others. So for $5,555, you too can learn how to turn this into a way to fleece other people of their money. And there's the predatory nature of this. On the one hand, it's very, very cult leader-esque. It's very, very culty. It's very, very secret knowledge-y. It's very scummy to pretend that you can commune with these extraterrestrials and give knowledge to people with that. But it's also extra scummy to charge people hundreds of dollars so that you can teach them how to scam other people the same way you're doing, when literally all you have to do this is to just watch your videos for a second and then emulate what you see. Like, I could sit here and chant going, Miles players are bad, Donald Trump, like, oh, and I can pretend that I'm getting some, like, profuse knowledge out of that other than just running out of wind in my lungs because I need to run more. But I'm not providing you anything other than mindless entertainment. And there's nothing wrong with doing something like this if you are being honest about what it is. It is just mindless entertainment. But just like the Pentecostals use it as a form of special knowledge to pretend that you're part of the super special cult so that you don't end up leaving and going somewhere else, he does it to you to fleece you out of your hard-earned money, which you can instead give to your favorite content creator who's not lying to you about what they're going to use the money on. I will spend your money on food, bills, and Magic the Gathering cards. In return, I continue to make my content, and I may give you videos that are private on Patreon, where I'll complain about the bills, the Magic the Gathering cards, or the content I create. You can also hear me talk about the other channels that I make, the Magic the Gathering channel, the news channel, where I talk about things that I'm passionate about amongst a bunch of different places. But I'm not going to fucking tell you that I'm talking to Yahweh so that you can get your butthole fingered. That's for Daniel. Look, instead of spending $5,500 fucking dollars on this mentorship program, I have two options for you. Over on my Magic the Gathering channel, I have a bunch of $20 and $30 commander decks. If you want to go, like, meet real people and go have fun instead of pretending you're talking to fake deities, then maybe go over to my channel, check out one of these videos, and then pick up one of these decks from the channel sponsor, Moxfield. If you use my link over on that channel, I'll actually get a kickback from that as well. If you've never used Moxfield before, you'll get $5 off, but I've got something more important you could spend that money on. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I'll mention it again. So my friend Walker, also known as Fleur whenever I'm on stream, their house was burned down recently. We still do not know all the details from the investigation of that burning, but we do know that they basically lost everything that him and his mom owned, all got incinerated in flames. Now, their living condition is somewhat stable right now. There is an older family house that they have moved into, but they've moved into it without the bulk of their possessions. A friend of mine helped buy a bunch of kitchen appliances for them. I donated a bunch of cards and a Nintendo Switch and a bunch of other stuff just to make sure that they had entertainment and could handle their day-to-day activities. But if you want to contribute to getting them back on their feet, we are currently 25% of the way through the donations to get them fully back on their feet after all of this. I know it's after Christmas, but it really sucks knowing that one of my best friends in the world got this as their Christmas present. So instead of sending that money to a charlatan, and even instead of sending that money to me, maybe send it over there where it's going to do a lot of good. I'm in a fairly stable situation right now, but I can't say the same for my friend. That said, I want to know what y'all thought at the end of this. Let me know what your thoughts are in the description or in the comments below. Let me know if you found value in a video like this. Let me know if it was entertainment and if you want me to cover more stuff like this. And if so, then hey, if you got a name of somebody you want me to talk about, then throw it out there and I'll see what I can do. That all said, I want to thank you very much for watching. Those of you who are new here, thank you for checking out my channel. Those of you who have been here for years, thank you for sticking with me through all the different ways my channel has morphed over time. It's really been an incredible journey. And going into 2026, it's wild to me that I'll have almost done this for a decade. I started this in December of 2017, and I'm about to hit the 8-year mark for my channel, and I couldn't have done this without the help from all of you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, each and every one of you, for your view, for your time, for your patience, and well, for everything. Hopefully I'll see y'all in the next one. Insert end of video tagline here. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Sereth, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.